creating a script that would tell me how much I added to my computer's file system, how much space I took up today. Because it's a long story, but I now live in a place with pretty bad internet, and I used to be able to keep everything in the cloud and have no issues, and making courses, can be terabytes of data. Now with my internet, I'm constantly worried about how much I'm adding to my disk and how much a course is taking up, and specifically I want to know day by day how much I'm adding. So it's a little tricky, so I asked it to write me a shell script that tells me how much space I've taken up on my hard drive today. It's tricky because not all systems actually track when something was created. Usually Unix-based systems will only track when things were last modified. So it's not entirely accurate. If I go back and modify something I made a week ago, it will be included in this count if I modified it today. But anyway, here's the script that it wrote. It's very simple. It uses disk utility, so du right here. It uses find. By default, it is finding everything in my root directory, which is going to include all sorts of system files and things that I didn't touch myself. So I think I'm going to rewrite it to work in the current directory. I'll change this to be dot. And then let's just say that you're not sure how to set this up as your own bash script. If that's in fact what I want it to be an executable. So I'm going to say, how do I go about making this script an executable? And it will give me instructions. So I have to add the shebang at the top of the script, which is actually already in here. Okay, and that just declares that this is a bash script file. And then I need to save it to a file. Okay, name it whatever I want. Give it a .sh extension, not required. And then finally, I need to use the chmod command, which I can use to change file permissions, use the +x to add executable permissions, and then I can run my script this way. And if I want to be able to run it from anywhere, I'm going to have to move it to a directory in my path. This is all covered, by the way, in my Linux course if you want to learn more about that. But I know earlier in this video I said I'm just going to keep this simple and do one-liners, and then I kind of had second thoughts because I thought, well, some people might actually want to know how to do this for real and how to make this something usable anywhere. So if you're one of those people, you can just ask ChatGPT for help. Anyway, I will take this script that it wrote me, although now it went back to doing a one-liner, which I don't want. So I'm just going to take the original script that it wrote here. It's a pretty simple script, and I'm going to go to my user local bin. Okay, I will touch a new file. You can see a bunch of different commands in here. I'm going to make mine called space. Maybe, is that what I want to call it? Sure, I'll call it space or storage or something like that. And then I'll do space.sh. And then I'll just use nano on space.sh. I'll paste my script in here. And then if you've never used Nano, it's just a simple text editor built in to most Unix shells. And then I will save this using Control O to write it out. And then I'll quit with Control X. All right, so if I look at that, cat space.sh, there it is. That's my script. Next, I simply have to make it executable. So chmod +x will add executable permissions, and it's called space.sh. Great. And now let me open up a new tab, and I can verify that it works by doing which space.sh. This will just tell me we found it. There it is, user local bin. Now we'll go to the directory that has my course that I'm currently working on, this very ChatGPT course, and I'm going to run space.sh. And I had to stop it because I realized, again, it was going through the entire root directory. So I'm going to reopen this in Nano and change this line to be the current directory I'm running it in with the dot, and then write that out with Control O, rename it, and Control X to quit. Now I try it again, and right now what it's showing me is that I've touched 1.5 gigs. I've either created or modified 1.5 gigs of data in this particular folder today. So if I go into a different folder, let's just burrow down into something I did a long time ago, like the basics. This is all about making your account for ChatGPT, the interface, the fact that there's a training cutoff. That was one of the first things I recorded. If I run my command in here, it actually doesn't give me anything. I didn't touch anything in that directory. I didn't modify or create any files in there today. All right. So that's all I want to show is you can definitely set up real fully fledged scripts too if you don't want them to be one-liners. I just wasn't sure if everyone was on board with how you go about doing that, but you can ask ChatGPT and it gives you a very usable explanation.